Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. This time I'm going to walk you through my latest painting and I'm going to talk a little bit about backgrounds. Backgrounds are really hard, and my best advice is to practice, to do a trial run before you actually paint your final painting. Do a trial run of a couple of different background choices. Try doing different variations of backgrounds in your sketches so that you can see what works best for your painting. My personal preference is to really work on a complementary background so that the tones in my subject, in my main part of the painting, really contrasts with the background. In this painting, I'm painting the figure of a flamenco dancer, and her skin tones are very warm and her dress is very warm. It's a red. So I want a background that is dramatic and that really showcases the drama and the passion of the dance. I made 4 different backgrounds in sketches. One was really a bright blue green that I thought would do a really good job of contrasting with the warm colors that I used on her figure and on her dress. Another one was a more warm, muted mix of burnt sienna and burnt umber, and I liked it, but I wanted to go darker because I felt like it was a little bit flat and didn't give me a dramatic edge. I went in for a lighter background, and I felt that that really didn't do the painting justice. But what I did settle on was a beautiful, rich, dark background, and I'm going to show you why I chose that one, and I hope you like that too. If you do like that dark background, let me know in the comments below. As with everything, I start off with my darkest darks, and I always do this because this is how I define my shapes. And I also made a mental note of all the tones that I'm using in the darkest darks. Now, because the light is shining so brightly on her, there's a lot of depth to the darkness, and I don't want to use just a dark brown for her skin tone. It has to be more than that. So I used a mix of ultramarine violet and olive green on the darks of her face. And I went in and darkened the background already, because every time you change the background, it changes the way the colors read in your paintings. And a lighter background changes the way the darks and the lights relate to each other. So now that I have some dark in the background, I have a better understanding of how the light and the dark play together on her face. When I put in the background, I added some olive green and some indigo to the burnt umber, and I feel like that made the skin tone really just too cool. It needed to be a little bit more warm because a lot of the coolness in the shadows was just coming way too strongly to the forefront. To warm up her skin tone, I'm using glazes of cadmium red and cadmium orange, and I mix them together. And the reason I'm glazing is because I don't want to completely overpower the rest of the work that I've already done. I'm satisfied with the way I've rendered the background on one side, so I'm going in and completing the rest of the background as well, as much as possible anyway, so that I have better context. So now I'm working on the rest of the figure. She's holding a rose in her hand, and it's casting a very strong shadow on her chest and on her neck. So I'm not really going in with a clean brush, but I go in with the brush that I used on the background and pushing the same colors into the chest and the neck as the background a little bit. When I need to add variation to the shadow, I go in with different colors like Terra Rosa or Cadmium Red, but the idea is to pull in the background into the rest of the shadows. And along with the many list of things that I want to make videos of, I also want to make a video of lost and found edges, and I'm using lost edges here a lot. I'm letting the darks of the figure blend in with the dark of the background. Areas that recede into the background and are also really dark, I make sure to blend them in with the background just to create this fuzzy edge where you can't really distinguish between the background and the edge of the figure. I like using lost and found edges because I really feel that it makes the background part of the painting and it makes the figure spring forth from the background much more realistically and much more believably than if you saw every part of the outline of the figure. I know I always say this, but I'm using a lot of repetition in this painting too. A lot of the colors that I used on her face, I repeated in her clothes and in the stem of the rose. So there's a lot of cadmium red on her dress, and there's a lot of olive green in the stem and the leaves of the rose. And it's actually a really good way to make it cohesive, as I always say. I am pretty happy with the way things have shaped up. All that's left for me to do is to finish up some details, finish up the hand and the lace covering that she has on her hand. I'm not sure what it's called. And after that, punch up the lights and the darks around the hands, of course, sign my painting, and call it done. There you go. I hope you liked it. Be sure to check out the links below for my website if you're interested in any of my art. Otherwise, please like, share, and subscribe, and leave a comment if you like this video, and I will see you next time.